that introduction. And really, I feel always very proud to be. I had worked with Sandeep professionally and personally as well, and his contribution toward the NBC and this is very phenomenal. And when we were working together also, at that time his vision was very far from, I can accept in this forum, his vision was very high at that time also. He used to go into the details. So we have short of time. We both cannot talk about each other. But he made me very emotional those old days, and we hope to work together and bring back those old days definitely. And now coming back to the question, I have a different opinion on this. What is that? 3-4 minutes.
Yeah, please sir. Please sir. We will sir.
Because I started my career in the consultancy, then contracting in government department also, Noida Authority I was there, and then going abroad, working in Oman, Dubai, and so I had seen the codes and this very stringent codes. I had worked for this different projects, and India is my last instinct, and practically after the consultancy, around 7 years I am here in Mumbai and working. So first of all, I wish to thanks to the entire team who are involved in these authorities, who are involved in evolving the NBC and revision of NBC and IS codes. And when I compare the codes, international codes, NFPA and the Jabza Civil Code and Dubai Civil Defense and Qatar Civil Defense, ROP codes, so our codes are not less anywhere. Let it be very clear, we are far away and we are far better also because of the inputs of all these legends, Dr. Shami, Sandeep and other people who are involved, and they had put the hard efforts voluntarily in this. Now coming to directly to the question, this prescriptive design and the performance design. Because if you restrict the codes and this, because codes are guidelines, NFP also says this local authority now prevails. Just I will give you one brief example. If you have some rehab project and you have so many rehab projects all around and the low cost housing is there, and some developer is making a high rise tower over there, 50-story tower, and a big development is coming over there. So whatever there is in code, okay. But I cannot argue with Parab sir that why you are asking me 3 lakh liter tank. Because as per the local authority, he may use that opportunity to serve the nearby area, which is not going to happen. The purpose of this example is this: we should not restrict the codes. Codes are the guidelines, and we should follow those guidelines. And in that, improvement is required. This proper coordination between the NBC code, IS codes, DCPR, and our respected local CFO. So that coordination is required, because sometimes we get confused in that. That requirement is required. Otherwise, this performance and the codes, we should not restrict the codes to give the 100% guidelines and people will do. And to get everyone's aim is to have the fail-safe environment, have the fail-safe building, and the only way is the person who is designing, the developer who is developing, and the contractor who is installing, and the end user, occupants, and the people who are maintaining the system, they should be qualified enough. Like in earlier, Sandeep has mentioned a very good thing, that if pilot is flying the aircraft, so when you are coming from Dubai or US, you will not go and tell him कि थोड़ा speed बढ़ा ले, थोड़ा time पे पहुंच जाएंगे, या तुम landing के time पे थोड़ा सा ध्यान रख लेना, नहीं बोलते हैं. वो उसको छोड़िए, डॉक्टर को भी हम नहीं बोलते हैं कि डाइजीन क्यों दे रहा है, जेलिसिल दे दो, तुम ऐसा कर दो. बट हमारे प्रोफेशन में क्या है, I will say one thing, I will not blame anything, I will blame ourselves. Apart from the developer, we are first of all engineers. So we should not budge. We should take our stand, and we had done so many high-rise projects in South Mumbai, and with the help of CFO, and we had long discussions and this, and we had delivered very good products also, like Lodha Place I was involved, it is a good project, Lodha Venezia, all high-rise buildings, and with Rustomjee also, so many projects. So people are reasonable, but we should leave that habit to accept, and we should convince the people. And sometimes it gives you stress to convince. When because your actual personality and your technical know-how comes when you are right and you have to convince somebody. So then it is the pain point. So first thing, we should have the certified professionals, which FSI and Pankaj Dharkar sir, Dr. Shami, Sandeep, and they are in very short span of time we are seeing the people over here who are aware of those things. So that certification and that near knowledge, real knowledge should be there to implement on this. And whatever we are designing, whatever the compliances we are, like earlier somebody was telling this, we should not die for the compliances. Like Sandeep earlier said, I am referring Sandeep more because he had only spoken. Otherwise, so that's why I am forced to refer. And Shami sir has only taken the class, so that's why I am not referring him, because he made the responsible designers. So my point is that awareness should be there, and rather than the compliances, we should not depend upon CFO. Now what happens whenever the CFO NSC comes from the Parab sir, then we make an Excel, this compliant, ये नहीं comply हो रहा है, इसको पैसे घुमा फिरा के कैसे comply करने का, वो habit छोड़ने का है. And maybe whatever the compliances are asking, something better we can do. And just I will take 2 minutes. And another point is this NBC code, our IS codes, we are not a small country like Dubai and this. We always praise for the Dubai, Qatar and other places. They are the small countries. दिल्ली का थोड़ा सा एक मजमा भी रहेगा तो उतने में कतर बन जाएगा. कितना ह्यूज कंट्री है. तो मेरा कंट्री ऐसा नहीं है कि एवरी टाइम आई कैन गो टू CFO, आप ये अपडेट कर दो, अभी मेरे को ये अच्छा लगा कि स्प्रिंकलर यहाँ नहीं लगाने का, यहाँ लगाने का, आप मेरे को ये पाइप का स्पेसिफिकेशन चेंज कर दो. वी कैन नॉट गो एवरी टाइम. तो इफ यू हैव द प्रिस्क्रिप्टिव डिजाइन, so then you will have a limitations. Then in that case, that creativity and the dynamics, because this every day we learn from this gathering also. So many things. What earlier presentation I had seen, so many things I had in my mind, but I will request the recording for that, and I will note it down. And some are very good points. If you codes you make very stringent and like a workbook like this, like jail manual, it will not work. Because codes can be updated maybe twice a year or thrice a year, because it's got some government procedure also. It's not like that. It's because 10 years it took, and because we had a strong process to implement that, and it's got a lot of screening. So I will conclude my this thing. Okay, the codes are good. That coordination needs to be improved, and the person who are designing, implementing, and maintaining, they should be more qualified and more competent people should be there. Sandeep, that's...
Yeah, Haroon sir, I think that's very aptly put. And I think I really loved your example when you said, my country is big country. So we feel proud about it. We know our challenges, but I always maintain in most of the conferences that we are a community which is driven by moral, not by compliances. So what happened in Corona when US was buying arms, the people over there were buying arms because I was threatened that you will come and take away you can be a threat to my family. We were delivering lunch and dinners to my neighbors. So this country is driven by moral values. We don't do things wrong because we are morally driven. Otherwise, चालान की तो कोई चिंता नहीं है. 200 रुपए तो मेरी जेब में हमेशा रहते हैं. So that is what it is. So I think it is more of moral that my country, we love our country because we are moral driven. So from there
just to continue with this last, not in India we are doing, but in Dubai, Qatar, Oman, who may be local CFO may be there, maybe some Arabic guy, some US educated, but सारा माल मसाला हमारा ही होता है तैयार किया हुआ. Design भी mostly, in most cases, we are there. Behind curtain we are there, and sometimes we are front also. Jobs are always having the chief fire officer, we call BP fire. They are always from the Nagpur and from this part of the world. So that is, we are proud of them.
Thank you.
Thanks Sandeep. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Haroon sir. So I go to Dr. Chaudhari, and he comes from the consulting fraternity, and I always believe the consultant don't have to just tell what, because what is already available on your iPhone or your Android phone. You can see the width of the staircase, you can see the width of the corridor. Everything is what in the code, but a consultant's duty is why. And when we explain why, we evoke that confidence, or I would say the passion for you to do the right thing. why the hospital corridor has to be 2.4 meter wide. If I go and educate my client, he will never ask me to compromise that width. But as long as we tell him code mein 2.4 likha hai, you have to provide, he feels irritated. But if we tell him why 2.4, because of the stretcher width, because the stretcher has to turn around 180 degree, because you can have computers and you will have chairs in the corridor, XYZ reasons, and I can explain that in a separate forum. The man says, bet me, I will never change it less than 2.4. I am now the man in command who will not let this compromise. From that perspective, we are coming from a fraternity where we are the people who tell why. So Mr. Chaudhary, Dr. Chaudhary, please tell me, when you've done international assignments, performance and prescriptive, you think that we are good? How much close do they come to each other, or they are too far away when you do buildings and designs in your practice?
Okay, thanks for the question. Performance based and prescriptive. So I'll just try to differentiate. Prescriptive is what the code says, and performance is what the educated fire personnel who designs it based on certain codes. Either it is SFPA or NFPA handbook. So based on that, some formulas, the performance base can be designed. Now performance base is a specific, so it will be useful for the malls, hospitals, airports kind of thing, or the specialty building. If we go to the US, we are fortunate that we are doing few projects in US. They don't do much performance based, they go by the NFPA only. The reason is they feel their codes are so robust. But when similar type of things are designed in Middle East, they and NFPA is followed, apart from the civil defenses and all, still they prefer the performance based because their buildings are different. They feel it is different. Same is the case with China, same is the case with Australia and New Zealand. They go for more performance based than the codal requirement. But as our country being where the general structures are more, I think prescriptive method is also nice to follow. Unless we tod marod it, we are listening to, we are getting overpowered by some of the people. No, we don't want this, we don't want this.
I agree.
So I think prescriptive is good for our country. अगर airport है, ATC tower है, malls है, then we can go for the performance base. Now there are some softwares for the calculation of performances, and performance is specific for every individual. For example, I would prefer that people in the property are important. Somebody would say data vault is more important. So he will calculate the performances separately. So there are small differences. If we are going for specialty structures, I think we can go for performance. And if we are going for the general design, prescriptive is good. In whole world, prescriptive has to get approved. So usually authorities having jurisdiction or CFOs of worldwide, either Middle East, India, USA, China, they cannot deny your submission of prescriptive method.
Correct.
Only they can advise. So I have seen that our CFOs also advise that this type of tank should be there. It might not be in NBC, but some escalation can be advised based on group of buildings. That is a typical scenario we face. That in NBC single building is given, but if there is a common property development, common basement, 15-16 buildings are there, then there are no codal provisions for all the buildings. So we go by some advices from the CFOs like 25k liters of water for each additional building, and one master building will have all the requirements. So I think performances are advised in our country, but not in the software basis. They are more actual basis, based on their own experiences, that what they have faces the problem.
Sure.
The problems we have seen a few minutes back on the slides. So I think we are prescriptive in our country, but at the same time performances of some parties also seen.
No, I think I completely agree with you, Dr. Chaudhary. I think there is a very innovative way of doing things. For example, our assembly buildings are not allowed to be more than 30 meters. That's the code which is giving the capping there. Now once the building is not allowed to be more than 30 meters, there is not too much of performance-based design we can go to. Unless until we want to make healthcare, which is like buildings which are 120 meters, 140 meters. Now they become very unique kind of structures, as rightly been told by Dr. Chaudhari. So for those kind of buildings, for airports, for specific type of buildings which are unique structures, we can look at performance-based design. We can make a kickstart as a part of our learning curve. But to make all buildings performance is a big risk. I think we need to open up our windows. We need to allow certain types of buildings to become performance, see the qualification, the working, the experience of doing those buildings on performance, and then as we see the society is maturing, we can go towards a different aspect. But opening a little window always helps to get a fresh air, and I think that's what the country should look at, and I think that's what we will request Shami Saab. We cannot be fixed with either this or that, but we should be an adaptive society. From that I go to Mr. Shrreyash, who is an architect, who will also, a very important work which he gets is into interiors. So when you, Mr. Shrreyash, work as an interior designer, what kind of a weightage do you give to materials which you select? Now we are all hydrants, pumps, sprinklers, smoke, all those kind of guys here. You are the man who gets the carpet, who gets the sofas, the drapery, the upholstery. You are the interior bad man, but you need the best things. But we always criticize that you have added a lot of fire load. So please tell me something, how you can be of help to us rather than doing a great interior and being criticized for adding fire load.
I think I'm representing all the designers. I will not specifically say architects, but major problems is due to lack of knowledge. Let me just press the panic bar here itself. I've been an architect in the industry from 21 plus years now. We were not even taught details in services. Leave fire aside. You will, sir, you will agree. It is how, but I don't believe if you are not taught, you should not learn.
You are still not taught.
So I am learning. I am on the learning curve.
And your present generation is also learning because...
But they are learning Netflix, sir. They are going through different channels, which ideally they should not at the moment.
Yes, sir.
I've got 2 of my young staff members here. My intention was not for them to do what others are doing, because I find them different than what their classmates are. So, I think we first have to start a curriculum where the designers, and I'm talking now for architects, have to be upright, sensitized, and they should know at least on a thumb rule basis how things move on. Interior courses, many of the interior courses are autonomous. Recently, Mumbai University has started BVOC courses for interiors. Yet, if you see the curriculum in the interior courses, you will just find how the services professor, any professors here, I don't know, but how the services is being taught. Just for an example, I went and joined architectural college because I wanted to see how the services part is taken care and what value addition I can do there. I got to get each and every appreciation whenever I started teaching. In my 2 years career when I was teaching, I never touched a single book, not even a single textbook. Everything what I explained them what was on the sketches, on the board, on a conventional manner. So nowadays software has played a certain role. We used to ask them to draft those things because the moment you start writing, you start assimilating those things. With computers, it's just a flash memory. So that's one thing. I'll come to the point now on how these things are affecting. Just I think most of us over here will be aware of. I just recently written an article on Mumbai, the island city on fire. Sir is sitting over here, and just for your knowledge, 2008 to 2018, 10 years. How many fires you may have seen in Mumbai? Any number of fires? Any guess, sir? We all are from fire industry. At least some guesses, other than the MFB, because they are the accurate ones. they are approximately 50,000 in 10 years. Now why are these five? It's not because of a designer only. Rajesh Shirke sir has given a very good presentation. It's not how you design but how you maintain. And you maintain it periodically. If you avoid by cutting corners on the budgets and XYZ, you are never going to get what you want. I was just having a word with Goel ji yesterday. Akshay Tritiya just happened, I think, on 3rd. People go for a Shubh Muhurat to buy gold. Has anyone gone and bought a fire extinguisher? That's what our thought process is. So first we need to sensitize ourselves so that people get inspired. At least what I'm speaking, maybe designers will get inspired, if not all, at least few of them. But when it comes to use of materials, yes, there are majorly combustible materials which are used in interiors. But you can't just blame that there are only combustible materials used. For example, as a designer, we need to think about segregation, separation, isolation of hazards. If we think in that pattern, then if you see what are the materials which come, major for corporates or residential, we have a lot of ply, lot of wooden work, as Goel ji said, a lot of upholstery, fabrics. But if you have a particle board where all the workstations are there, why do we go with a particle board workstation is my first question. You have MDF as an option, but again MDF will not support. You can go with HDF having fire rating qualities. You all must be knowing about Action shoes. The same company manufactures Action TATA products. MDF, we have ply, we have fire rated plies, Century ply and many others. For your knowledge, India is the 3rd largest to manufacture that. How many designers know it? So when we do these jobs, we try to have these things in place. As sir also said, हमें जुगाड़ नहीं करना है. I think this word हिंदी में बोलना बहुत जरूरी है. Whenever we sit with the client, I don't know why consultants mellow down. We are the educated lot. I am not saying the developers are not, but we are the educated lot. There are many things lying in our hands. So we have to sensitize them in the way Goel sir just said. We have to tell them why. The moment we have a problem and how we can mitigate it, I think that's how it matters. Now this is one example. The second example, we spoke about upholstery foam. जूने जमाने में हम लोग घर में नीचे बैठ के खाना खाते थे, तभी आग भी बहुत कम हुआ करती थी. With now having lavish houses, lavish interiors, कभी कभी तो घर की कॉस्ट से इंटीरियर कॉस्ट बढ़ जाता है, just because there's a lot of lamination, many things which go into it. So now there is this polyurethane foam. There are about 14 varieties of this foam. Anyone over here, does anyone know this is a highly combustible material? But Godrej has come up with a product which gives you almost 100% guarantee. So why not go with these alternatives where you have that availability? It's just a matter of thinking the thought process. You may shell out slightly more money, but in order doing that, you're going to save a lot of lives. Because I personally feel accidents never happen with a prior notice. They just happen and you have to react. So why react later? Why not react today when situation is with us? So this is something about it. Now any offices, if you see, people go with luster paint. It's oil-based paint. High VOC value. Pollution wise it is very high. Now Jindal has come up with paints which are on low VOC values. We can always think about all these green products or all these fire rated products where we can change the dimension. And jo client hai, I have a client which even after 10 years has come to me. What he said, Shrreyash, 10 साल पहले जो किया है वो कुछ हुआ नहीं है. I am coming to you for the same thing. that has to be the comfort zone, and I leave projects जहाँ मुझे जुगाड़ करने के लिए कोई बोलता है, that straight away. So I work on very few projects, but I work diligently, and I feel I am one person responsible for the life of the end users. So if every designer takes that thought, I think everything will land in the right place then.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks.
Shrreyash. I think it's very pride to take the client with the responsibility which you have just expressed and to be firm with what you are saying. I think it takes a lot of guts to be firm. And let me tell you one thing. Fortunately, I've met the best of the chairmen in the world. Actually, nobody wants to cut corners. As long as you give the advice to him on day one and you tell him that my cost of the system, you convince him will cost you 40 crores. And once that is done, if he is a good person, he'll retain you, otherwise he'll throw you out. And nobody has thrown me out in my career in last 25 years, fortunately, because we have been able to convince. The problem comes with my community is when we change our dialogues after every 6 months. Sir, I need this much, I need that. He says, you are crazy. And that's where I think we lose confidence of the client. And from that, I come to my colleague whom we have been talking to very regularly, Animesh. Animesh, I would understand for sure that you people are doing, I should thank you also, to promote the technologies which you have. And this forums, I would like to educate myself from discussion with a great company like TATA, which has got a lot of core values of honesty. But tell me something, having said that it comes from the TATA family, what kind of challenges you are facing with the clients, the procurement, the usage? They say, आपको तो door बेचना है, आप मेरे पीछे क्यों पड़ गए हो, ये चाहिए. Actually, you're not selling them door, you're selling them safety. And you're convincing them to be buying a safe product. You could actually sell anything and get out. But why you are so passionate about it? Because you feel it's your also a responsibility. But still, you're trying to tell a child that he has to study hard and he hates his father because he's doing that, but the father still keeps pushing him to work hard. Similarly, you're trying to give a product which he doesn't want, but you want to still give it to him. And be very proud over here and say, we have done in last 1 year, we have done 2.5 lakh doors. That's because you want to commit over here. What is the challenges you face from the end clients? They like you, they dislike you, they hate you, what happens?
Well, let me start by saying that if you look at history, human civilization, the history of human civilization, invention of fire was a big milestone. The entire course of human civilization changed after that. Some experts say that the next milestone will happen when all of them start following fire safety norms. That is the kind of change which is needed. And this kind of change is not a small change.
At your point, I'm sure. I don't think any scientist would have coined it. You are passionate about coining it.
Yeah, so what I want to convey is that the challenges are not about convincing the customer to go for a good quality product. The challenge is actually engaging all the stakeholders and making them knowledgeable, as he rightly said.
The why.
Yeah, the why. The value of choosing a product or a service which is inherently fire safe.
That's right.
And as a supplier, as a steel company, I would say that perhaps it is our fault. We have not been able to convince people. We have not been able to convey the value that we bring to the table. And that is because perhaps, in every trade, there is always some, dilution of moral values. And in our trade, in doors and windows particularly, I will say that one of the challenge which I keep hearing from my customers is that they're not happy with the quality they get. Because what they buy, they don't get. What is there in the paper is not what they get in spirit. And there is no way a typical consumer or a developer can check the quality of a door once the door is put up. You can't check the thickness of the sheet. You can say it is 1.2 mm, 120 GSM steel sheet, but as a consumer, as a builder, how will you do that checking? It is trust. Now there are people who actually play around this, so that gives, that creates a lot of doubt in the mind of the builder. So one thing is that to convey to the, the customers and client that you will get what you buy. And at least from the house of Tatas, I can tell you that, at least from that point of view, you are in safe hands.
Sure.
The second point is about, the quality of infill, the quality of accessories. Every door is not a door, it's not a steel shutter only. It comes with accessories. And if the accessories are not fire safe, then the entire solution is not fire safe. Now what happens typically, I've seen, if you see the fire certificates today, the fire certificates that you get don't specify the accessories with which it was tested at the first place. So what happens, people give you fire certificate, the testing was done with some other high-end accessories, but when they're offering it to you, they give you some Chinese made local accessories, inherently putting the lives of people at risk. Now some people do it consciously, some people don't do it consciously, but nevertheless, so there is a dilution of the quality that is prevalent right now in the trade, and that is something which as a company we don't do, and I think we are trying to convey that again and again to our customers. The second thing is about time. In this particular trade we have always seen customers coming to us and saying that मुझे ये 30 दिन में चाहिए, and every customer wants a unique type of fire door. The length, the dimensions keep changing, everything. It's always custom made. Now imagine the plight of a company to make and sell a good quality product with all kinds of certification, with all kinds of quality standards, supplying within very short time. Here I would say that as a community at large, we need support in terms of standardizing the offer, because with standardization we can actually drive quality and bring down the delivery, and the timelines can be crunched. So that is where I think one more challenge that we face. In our trade, we are a pan-India player, and there are some local unorganized players. And in terms of responsiveness, we always have this problem, because local players can supply within 7 days, whereas we take maybe 30 days time. So, but we can actually solve this puzzle provided we get some early engagement, and we partner in the process of designing and standardize the trade. The moment you standardize, you bring quality standards.
I think personally speaking, only a demand and awareness creates a lot of difference. Today, you want to buy a mobile phone which doesn't have a camera, you don't get it in the market. So you can not buy a door which is not fire rated, is I think where we should drive it, and we should make it cost optimized. Because then only, today I was speaking to Shami Saab, he was telling me PVC wires. I said, sir, I don't think they exist. They may be existing, because I don't know anything less than FR, fire retardant. It is fundamentally, it's the vanilla ice cream. You don't get anything lesser than that. So I think that is where we all have to work together, where your fundamental is not questioned with respect to the basics of the requirements. So from that perspective, we will have to really kind of move ahead. I will just request 2 minutes from each of my colleagues, because they have been very nice to come all the way and give their time. So may I request Mr. Siddiqui, 2 minutes, sir, of your final words, a message which you would like to give us, awareness, education, prescriptive, performance, or any suggestions?
Just I will, it's a very interactive discussion, and Animesh, because the fire door, always people ask, कोड में कितना लिखा है, आईएस में तो थिकनेस पूछता है, सर्टिफिकेट मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा, अभी आईएस में कुछ थिकनेस लिख दिया तो उसके लिए इतने फोन आते हैं, आईएस में है लेकिन सर्टिफिकेट है मेरे पास, लगाऊं नहीं लगाऊं. तो मेरा आंसर ये रहता है कि सबसे पहले यू गेट सेटिस्फाइड दैट in case of fire it will restrain for the duration for that particular duration, and just don't run around to satisfy the CFO, because your life, your property is at stake.
Correct.
And just I will not take much time. इस सब चीजों का कंक्लूजन एक ही है कि दोस्त से निकलेगा ना दुश्मन से निकलेगा, मेरे पाँव का कांटा मुझी से निकलेगा. तो आपका क्या है, पल दो पल में लगती है, बुझते बुझते एक जमाना लगता है. एक फायर हो गया, कितना रोजी रोटी जाता है, कितना प्रॉपर्टी का लॉस होता है. और जिसके घर का, whenever I am designing something and whenever I am arguing to somebody for this, somebody wants to dilute, मैं एक ही क्वेश्चन पूछता हूँ, अगर खुदा ना करे आप उस बिल्डिंग में नहीं हो लेकिन आपका बच्चा उधर चला गया किसी बर्थडे पार्टी में, कुछ हो गया और आपने ये, one of the things which came into my mind is the passive fire system. First of all, अपने को फायर होने, हमको शौक नहीं है कि मैं संदीप बहुत कोई बड़े बड़े अवार्ड लें कि हमने ऐसा डिजाइन कर दिया, हमने ऐसा डिजाइन कर दिया, स्प्रिंकलर को देखेंगे घूर के तो वो फट जाएगा, ऐसा कुछ हमारे माइंड में नहीं है करने के लिए. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इट शुड नॉट हैपन. तो मेरा एक रिक्वेस्ट आप लोगों से है, जो लोग अथॉरिटीज में हैं और जो लोग कोड डिजाइन करते हैं, कि जो अभी नए एनबीसी में बहुत अच्छा चैप्टर आया पैसिव फायर प्रोटेक्शन का, क्योंकि जितनी ज्यादातर फायर्स होती हैं वो डट के थ्रू ये आता है. उसके लिए इम्प्लीमेंटेशन के लिए हमारा सीएफओ, दिल्ली सीएफओ हो या मुंबई सीएफओ हो, गोवा हो, जितने लोगों से मैं बात करता हूँ तो दे आर वेरी स्ट्रिंजेंट. अभी वो लोग उसका फॉर्म भी मांगते हैं, कंप्लीशन भी मांगते हैं कि अथोराइज से होना चाहिए. तो दैट इज अचीवमेंट. बिकॉज हम लोग हमेशा निगेटिव बात करेंगे तो वी विल एंड अप, हम वो यही सोचते रहेंगे कि नहीं होने का. बट ये चीजें बहुत अच्छी तरीके से हो भी रही हैं. एज ए डेवलपर हम भी पूछते हैं कि भाई तुम्हारा सीएफओ का अप्रूवल है इस प्रोडक्ट का या नहीं है. उन चीजों को हमें ज्यादा देखना है. और इलेक्ट्रिकल से रिलेटेड जो चीजें लाइक ही हैज मेंशन्ड एफआरएलएस किधर चाहिए, इलेक्ट्रिकल का डिजाइन जो है वो बराबर है या नहीं, तो हम लोगों को कॉजेज पे थोड़ा सा फोकस करना चाहिए. एंड नाउ विद द इम्प्रूवमेंट एंड द एनफोर्समेंट ऑफ द कोर्ट्स एंड द ट्रेनिंग्स एंड द अथॉरिटीज आर इन्वॉल्व्ड एंड सोसाइटीज आर इन्वॉल्व्ड. अभी हम एज ए डेवलपर सो मेनी पीपल sometime when the deal is going on and some sales people called me in the night also कि the customer is asking कि आपका फायर टैंक का कैपेसिटी कितना है. मैंने कहा उसको क्या मतलब है कितना है कितना नहीं बोल रहे. वो पूछ रहा है पंप करना आपका कौन से लेवल पे पंप. तो पीपल आर अवेयरनेस इज देयर. तो देन we are on a positive note. We are there after this revision of 2016 code and this UDCPR in Mumbai and this unified DCPR 2034 and the unified DCPR which is come in force. So things are very much clear and we all should pledge that we all should work together, just not to satisfy each other, not just to satisfy the codes, but it's a dynamics and we should continuously work towards the improvement.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Very
Sandeep.
inspiring.
Thank you.
Dr. Chaudhary sahab.
In prescriptive we are following, but performance based I would say we can develop our own codes, some standards with the help of people those who are actually fighting the fire. The guidelines can be laid and the same can be followed for the some specialty type of structures.
Sure.
That's what I would.
Thank you. Very, very good contribution. Shrreyash sahab, we'd like to hear from you. A message to people to actually, I always use this dialogue, architects खास तौर पे, ये मुझे लगता है बंद कर दिया जाए. Because मुझे लगता है थोड़ा दो छोटा करेंगे तो काम चल जाएगा. तो मुझे लगने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. There are documents, books, scientific engineering fundamentals. So I think there are values of smoke density, there are values of other parameters. तो ये मुझे लगता है हमें छोड़ देना चाहिए and we should be accountable.
Yeah, with the values as you said, NBC 2016 Volume 1 Part 4 categorically states there are about 70 plus items mentioned there with the calorific values over there. So every designer, not they have to just go and talk to the MEP, but they can educate as a designer, they can educate themselves. Try to find out the fire load of a particular area. The smoke density also plays a vital role. So fire load as well as the fire density. If these two, it's a garland. It's a garland with these two ends. If you want to cut this garland short, you have to focus on the parameters, how you can reduce the fire density and how you can reduce the fire load. If these two things are taken care, I think the rest of the parameters will fall in the right place and we will see many lives being saved and firefighters may have less opportunities to run every now and then. Because I take this opportunity because I have seen each and every firefighter. Military guys are known very well, the naval guys are known very well, the air force guys are known very well. जब firefighters आते हैं तो हाँ यार होता है, पुलिस सबको पता है. But firefighters, if you actually see, they run even for the smallest. किसी का pet या कोई pigeon भी कहाँ अटका है, तो you see a firefighting risking his life, which is more costlier than maybe the pigeon's life, but saving the pigeon or the cat which is at the 4th floor on the chhajja or somewhere. So I think everyone over here need to applaud the firefighters for the excellent, awesome job they are doing. Thanks.
Thank you. Last words from you, my dear friend.
So I would say two words, curiosity and engagement.
Very nice.
So get curious, learn more about fire, how it happens, and then decide yourself which material to choose, what to follow, what not. So that is what number one. Number two, engage with right people. So we as a company, we would love to engage with designers, with developers, with the fire department, everyone. Because this is a challenge which collectively we need to solve.
And
It's
the
not one man's
last word
game.
I will add to over there is commitment. So once you are committed, I think you have done a job well. Thank you so much, my dear friends. Everybody has been great, and I would request Shami Saab to be on stage to facilitate my colleagues, and also आप यहाँ आके पूछ लो ना सब क्वेश्चन और फैसिलिटेशन भी करो.
Thank you. I heard all of you and really learned something new about the performance and the prescriptive. Debate is going on about the performance perspective. As rightly said that even the USA denied to adopt the performance based. But okay, we are going for the performance based design. I agree with you. There is a flaws, and there is a flaws in every document because our document is not so dynamic. Technology is coming up, keep on changing. We cannot adapt quickly because we have to depend on certain document. And this document is sometimes saving you with the subjectivity. CFO मुंबई क्या बोल रहा है, CFO नागपुर क्या बोल रहा है, CFO दिल्ली क्या बोल रहा है, एक ही अप्रोच के लिए अगर सब्जेक्टिव हो गया तो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन यूनिफॉर्मिटी बहुत मुश्किल होगी. So my question with all of you that how you can suggest or recommend to ensure that your performance based design should have the legal backup. Like my prescriptive design or the prescriptive things have the legal backup. Mumbai Fire Brigade in their act said that until and unless you have the minimum fire safety requirement in accordance with the National Building Code of India, Part 4, you will not get NOC. That means it has got the legal backup. Can we say the performance based design done by A, B, C, D will have the same kind of backup? This is number one. Number two, in the performance based design, you are PhD, you are doctor, and you have done all calculation based on your knowledge and wisdom. Do you think the same kind of knowledge and wisdom is available in the country?
That's right. It is not.
So these two answers I just want to know from you.
एक तो सबसे पहले क्या है वो प्रिस्क्रिप्टिव का प्रोनाउंसिएशन भी थोड़ा मुश्किल है, मतलब वो थोड़ा बोलने को भी थोड़ा सा लगता है और परफॉर्मेंस
क्वारंटाइन बोलना बड़ा मुश्किल से सीखा था.
हाँ, तो सबसे पहली चीज़ क्या है जो आई एम फुल्ली एग्री विद यू, वी कैन नॉट इन आवर कंट्री एज आई से मेरी कंट्री तो बहुत बड़ी है, बहुत लोग हैं और बहुत जगह काम होता है, हर जगह का सोशल इन्वायरमेंट कल्चरल एंड टाइप ऑफ यूजेज इज वेरी डिफरेंट. बॉम्बे की तरह आप दिल्ली को ट्रीट नहीं कर सकते, दिल्ली की तरह बॉम्बे को ट्रीट नहीं कर सकते, सूरत को आप बॉम्बे नहीं बना सकते. वी शुड नॉट गिव अ फ्री हैंड टू एनीवन कि ये कोई एकेडमिक रेस नहीं चल रही है कि आप परफॉर्मेंस लेके आओ, आप ये सॉफ्टवेयर चलाओ, वो सॉफ्टवेयर चलाओ, आप उसमें ये डेंसिटी कैलकुलेट करो. तो बाइबल शुड बी NBC, and NBC is not a document which is just printed out. It got 10 years, what you mentioned, it got 10 years to develop, to get revision, and that should be the basis. And in my opinion, what we should do for the project wise, authorities or CFO should allow to review the DPR together, and every project is unique. Not every project, in every project, every room is unique.
Correct.
Everything is unique.
We used to say every time.
We should not give free hand for this thing, and it should be mutually this thing. And like Animesh and Shrreyash has already mentioned that it should be done by the correct people. And again I will come back to my friend Sandeep what he said, वो पायलट को मत डिस्टर्ब करो, डॉक्टर को मत डिस्टर्ब करो, ये सब लोग हैं, इन लोग को करने दीजिए. और इसमें हमको जो सबसे ज़्यादा सपोर्ट चाहिए एज ए डेवलपर ऑल्सो, आर्किटेक्ट का बहुत सपोर्ट लगता है, क्योंकि कोई भी मैनेजमेंट कुछ भी है, आर्किटेक्ट इज द बॉस फॉर द प्रोजेक्ट. वी आर सपोर्टिंग फंक्शंस.
All legal backup.
Yeah, and architect are always on front. But now things are changed. Architects are also doing this, but I feel they should do little much more on that. So that is my say.
Thank you, sir. I think it has been great. We could really sit down till dinner, and we would not like to. That's your show, and thank you so much. It's been a great session. I think we can still make a great network of colleagues who are committed. So I request Shami sir and Pranab sir to please facilitate my colleagues over here.